Hello, my curious friends. Pastor CJ here again with our Ask a Pastor Anything question for the week. This is more of a story that has a question at the end. So here's we go. My friend has several serious health conditions. She recently attended her son's church where she is not a member. The pastor told her that if she joined his church, then she would be cured of her main illness. Any thoughts? Well, friends, I have a lot of thoughts on this particular story and the pastor and church that it represents. Some of them are kind and generous, some of them are otherwise. Let me begin, though, by saying that miracles do happen. Miracles, by definition, are out of our control and unrepeatable. And so, a miracle could happen if this person joined that church. They could be healed, they could be cured, and I don't know that because that's obviously out of my control and unrepeatable. So I don't know that it's going to happen or not going to happen. I question this particular pastor on whether or not they know that this is going to happen, because that says some theology issues that are in their life. It also demonstrates that there's some manipulation that might be happening. And I don't understand all of those things, and I'm not going to speculate on them, but I will say that I would flee from a church where the pastor says that kind of stuff, because it indicates that that pastor may know more than God about what needs to happen, and maybe manipulating not just your friend or your mother or that person, but is probably manipulating other people. And I'm uncomfortable with pastors who seek to have that kind of control over God, let alone other people. And so I would run away from a church like that. And I would probably drag your son away too, because it's possible that that church is not good for them and their Christian practice. Now, all of those things aside, I don't know the entire situation, and I don't know the actual parts that took place there. But those are some of my thoughts. What I think is more helpful here is to think about the kind of church that you would want to connect with. So if you are looking for a church, then I would look for two things. Two things first is, the first is that look for how that church relates to the world around them. If they are loving other people, caring for the least, feeding hungry people, giving drink to people who are thirsty, clothing the naked, visiting the sick and imprisoned, if they're doing the kinds of things Jesus said to do, then that's one indicator of a church that would be worth your time to connect with. The other thing, the second thing that I would look for is that church offering opportunities for you to grow and serve? If there are Bible studies, if there are book studies, if there are small groups that you could participate in to practice your faith and to grow in your faith, then that would be the other piece of it, because that is part of loving God. And really, that what it comes down to is how a church loves God and loves other people will tell you a lot about them. Sure, people love great music, but you know what? You can stream good music. People love great sermons, but you know what? You can stream great sermons. We call them podcasts in the modern world. And no, I'm not going to start one. But what I want you to hear is that a church that loves God and gives you opportunities to grow in your love of God and loves their neighbor as themselves and gives you opportunities to practice and do that work will be a church where you can connect. There is no digital substitute for community. You can find community digitally, and that's great. But there is no digital substitute for the spaces that we can inhabit together that help us to grow in our love of God and serve others. And so if a church is doing those two things well, go to those churches. You will find healing, maybe not cure for a disease, but you will find healing because there is health and wellness and wholeness to be found in places that empower us to grow and become who God created us to be. And there is power and growth and health in using that agency to serve others. So friends, find a church that loves God and loves neighbor, and you will find a church where you will find healing and wholeness. But it's not going to be in a church where the pastor comes to you and says, if you join my church, X, Y, or Z will happen. Because the pastor doesn't know that. The pastor can't know that, especially when it concerns a miraculous healing. Those are some of my thoughts on that question. What are your thoughts? God bless.